Wolverine is by far one of Marvel's most iconic comic book characters. He's had plenty of compelling story over the years, and has faced off against some pretty terrifying antagonists in the process. So today we are counting down the top 10 scariest Wolverine villains, diving into ones that are downright scary in terms of their ideals and also their aesthetics. Wolverine's fought a lot of ugly baddies in the past, guys. Also guys, stick around to the end of the video because we're going to be reading off some comments from a previous top 10 nerd vid. Let's get to it. Starting us off in at number 10, the Wendigo. The Wendigo is not only one of Wolverine's scariest foes in the comics, but also one of his most important ones. It's the creature that introduced him into the world of Marvel, and began his lifelong friendship with the Hulk. The Wendigo is a product of the Curse of the Wendigo, which is based off of a real-life legend. The same legend that appears in that Until Dawn video game. Side note. So this curse occurs in the northern parts of Canadian wilderness, when, under the right conditions, a person feeds on human flesh, and then is transformed into this immensely strong fur-covered beast. The Wendigo first appeared in the Incredible Hulk issue 162 in 1973. While Wolverine wouldn't show up until the Incredible Hulk issue 180, which was Logan's first appearance, Wolverine fought the Wendigo alongside the Hulk. But that was after he tried to attack the Hulk and failed. So instead he just goes for the Wendigo instead. The Wendigo has been a foe of his ever since. And at number 9, Bloodscream. Bloodscream literally has the word scream in his name. How is that not scary? Bloodscream is a vampiric creature who first appears in Wolverine Volume 2 issue 4. Back when he was first introduced, his name was Bloodsport, but eventually that got changed. The character has similar traits and abilities to a vampire, except isn't a vampire. Born in the 16th century, he worked as a doctor and a surgeon back then, until he was fatally injured in 1580, only to be rescued by a Native American shaman. Turns out that the shaman, though, was actually a necromancer, which is how Bloodscream got his abilities. Now in order to reverse the effects and become human again, he needs to find the blood of a man who doesn't age. Flash forward to 1944. Bloodscream encounters Logan long before his Wolverine days during the Battle of Normandy, when Logan was fighting for the Canadian forces. They fight and Bloodscream is left for dead. But eventually he runs into Wolverine decades later, and sees that Wolverine has not aged a bit. This prompts him to hunt him down and try to use Logan's blood to turn himself back into a human. Now aside from being vampiric, Bloodscream possesses some really unique abilities that are also horrifying to see. He can shapeshift into a more horrific looking monster by expanding his jaw several feet deep, with his teeth growing around a foot in length. His limbs and fingernails also elongate. When he's in this state, he becomes more of an animal and less of a man, dominated by his hunger for blood. And at number 8, Gorgon. Gorgon, not to be mistaken with the Inhuman character of the same name, first appeared in Wolverine issue 20 volume 3 back in 2004. He's a powerful mutant capable of turning humans to stone just by looking at them, similar to Medusa. Now in addition to that, he has a huge variety of abilities, from super strength, regenerative health, telepathy, a genius level intellect, expertise in hand-to-hand combat, the list goes on. His real name is Tommy Shishido, and he was born with an incredibly high level of intelligence. Now by the time he was 6, he had composed a whole opera, and he had attempted suicide twice. By 13, he had created a mathematical formula to prove the existence of the one above all, and had manifested the ability to turn people into stone when he looked at them, which is how he got his nickname of Gorgon. He turned to crime, leading a Japanese terrorist group called the Dawn of the White Light, and by 18 he sought out the Hand, killing his whole family in order to prove his worth to them. He would later become affiliated with Hydra. So clearly he's checked all the boxes in the villain department. So how does Wolverine fit into his story? When Wolverine's dead fiance's cousin's son, is kidnapped, he goes to Japan to rescue the boy, only to come into contact with the Gorgon. Wolverine ends up in a coma, with the whole thing being revealed as a trap in order to get Wolverine under the control of Hydra, who the Gorgon works for. But by the time issue 31 rolls around, the Gorgon is killed but would later be resurrected. And at number 7, Romulus. Romulus is a villain that orchestrated many of the major events in Wolverine's life. He's manipulated the hero many a time, and first appeared in Wolverine Origins issue 39 in 2009, despite appearing obscured behind a shadow in Wolverine Volume 3 issue 50 2 years prior. So, who is he? Romulus is the leader of the Lupines, which are a species of humans who have evolved from canines via convergent evolution. And if you think he looks a whole lot like Logan himself, you're not wrong. Turns out he's got an adamantium-like skeleton and claws, a regenerative healing ability, telepathy, superhuman senses, strength, speed, all that jazz. Romulus tells Wolverine that he is what Logan will become. hence all of his work in the shadows. Despite that, a lot about the character is shrouded in mystery, but he did plan on having Wolverine replaced altogether with the next villain on our list. And at number 6, Daken. In Wolverine Origins issue 5, readers were introduced to Wolverine's long-lost son, Daken. He was raised by Romulus, who had fed the boy lies about how Wolverine had killed his mother. Nothing like a surprise kid you didn't know about attempting to murder you to scare the crap out of you. Am I right? Anywho, this villain has fought his father many a time, and even took over his mantle when he joined Norman Osborn's Dark Avengers. And at number 5, Lady Deathstrike. Lady Deathstrike is a warrior who blames Wolverine for the theft of her father's scientific breakthrough, the process of bonding adamantium to a living being's skeleton. Now, first appearing in Daredevil issue 197 in 1983, she would set out to kill Wolverine and retrieve his bones in order to study the adamantium in them, but that happened later after Daredevil. She's considered to be one of Wolverine's fiercest enemies, and throughout the years has gotten some upgrades via adamantium bonding and cybernetic adjustments, which also include razor-sharp talons that extend from her fingers. Now, those razor-sharp talons are what makes her particularly frightening, earning her a spot on this list. And at number 4, Ogun. Ogun, a character who was first introduced in Kitty Pryde in Wolverine issue 1, has a particularly unnerving aesthetic. He wears a red horned devil mask, and he's capable of possessing and controlling minds. Ogun, a telepath and master of ninjutsu, was once Wolverine's mentor. The two had met during World War II when Logan was fighting for the Canadian forces and Ogun was part of the Japanese army. Ogun would eventually join the Yakuza and then mess with Wolverine's protege, Kitty Pryde, by possessing her mind. Kitty's mind isn't the only one that he's tried to take over either. He likes to screw with Logan by possessing the minds of his allies and loved ones, including Viper, who went from being Logan's enemy to his wife. That's a whole story in itself. It wasn't even Logan who put an end to this villain either. It was Kitty Pryde, who drove him into the astral plane. Moving on to our number 3 spot, Abraham Cornelius. Cornelius was one of the senior scientists running the Weapon X program. First introduced in 1991 in Marvel Comics Presents issue 73, the character has long been an adversary of Wolverine's. Now, Abraham Cornelius may just have an insane twinkle in his eye in the 616 continuity, but on alternate Earths, he's something significantly more heinous and terrifying, specifically in the Ultimate Marvel Universe, on Earth 1610. Take a look at his mutated self. After a failed coup with his Weapon X pals, along with being sent into prison and having to go into hiding, Cornelius decided to get revenge on Wolverine by transforming and mutating a paralyzed teenager into a cyborg assassin who was named Deathstrike. Now, mutating is sort of the 1610 version of Cornelius' thing. He ends up testing stolen DNA of Wolverine's on his own body, which severely mutates and deforms himself, and also drives him more insane in the process. Wolverine later kills him by decapitating him, as one does. Moving on to number 2, Sabretooth. Sabretooth has long been Wolverine's nemesis, and let's be honest, he's pretty horrifying upon glance. But he's also pretty scary in his motives too. Now, the character first appeared in Iron Fist issue 14 back in 1977, and that was before he was a mutant. He was a non-powered serial killer, of course. He then became a mutant who possessed bestial superpowered abilities, which included razor-sharp claws and fangs. Now, originally Chris Claremont had planned for Sabretooth to be Wolverine's father, and the intention between their constant conflict was supposed to be that Sabretooth just wanted to beat Logan up, just to remind him that he easily could. Talk about a psychopath. While that relationship didn't end up becoming a reality, the sentiment behind their constant fighting did, all of which makes Sabretooth pretty darn scary. And finally, in at number 1, Dr. Rot. Dr. Rot first appeared in 2009's Wolverine Weapon X issue 6, whose cover in itself looks like he was pulled straight out of a horror movie. Dr. Rot, aka Bentley Newton, aka Dr. Rotwell, locks Wolverine up in a place called Dunwich Sanatorium, where Dr. Rot was once a patient of. He had caused a riot after he was diagnosed as incurable. Dr. Rot has an affinity for killing people and taking their brains, and then using those brains in his God Brain machine, along with conducting other crazy surgeries. Now, the God Brain machine is a product of his insanity and his genius. He plans on using it and the brains of his innocent victims to spread his insanity worldwide via its psychic abilities. Essentially, it could be a mass brainwashing tool. Now, Logan doesn't remember how he got to the sanatorium, and Rotwell sets his sights on taking out his brain and experimenting with it, seeing Wolverine as an interesting specimen. Eventually, the X-Men come to Wolverine's aid and rescue him, but unfortunately, the Doctor got away in the process. Alright, there we have it, friends. Which foe of Wolverine's do you find to be the scariest? Give us a shout in those comments below and let us know your pick. Speaking of comments, let's dive into some of the comments from our video, Top 10 Red She-Hulk Shocking Facts. From Kirby March Barcena, which I hope I'm pronouncing right, I thought Kelly looked like she was applying for a position in Starfleet Command. Yeah, my application didn't go over too well and I'm not really in the mood to talk about it. From androgynous anxiety, we really need a Red She-Hulk comic. Such a cool character with enough history to hold her own series. I totally agree. Now there was a Red She-Hulk solo comic that begun with issue 58, which had transferred over from issue 57 of the Hulk, which was the second volume of the Hulk comic. Now that one lasted up until issue 67, which came out back in 2013. Since, she has been present in the Marvel Universe, but primarily in brief cameos, like in Civil War II when she attended Bruce Banner's funeral. But that was more so Betty rather than her angrier other half. So all in all, the character could definitely benefit from a new team of creators and a brand new solo series. From T-Rex Advent, she looks like a female version of Hellboy. I sure hope you mean Red She-Hulk and not me, although that wouldn't be the first time I've heard that. From Jurassic Park Is My Life, I need you and Roya Destroya to do a video together. Hey man, if Roya ever comes back from school, you bet we will. But I think there is a collab that we did kicking around from months and months ago that you might be able to find if you dig deep enough on our channel. And if it's not on Top 10 Nerd, it's likely on our sister channel Top 10 Gaming. Which if you haven't checked out, you should head on over there and subscribe, both Johnny and I are on it, so. And last but not least from Austin Parker, last time I was this early, Stan Lee was still above ground. I'll just let that one sit here for a sec. Damn. Alright, there we have it folks. Be sure to hit that like button if you dug this video, and if you're new, why not subscribe? We'd love it if you hung out with us some more. In the meantime though, thanks for watching everybody. I'll catch you all in the next video.